My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Forum. We're very excited this evening to have with us two exemplary people. We have, to my far left is Reverend Torrance Abrams, Associate Minister of the First Baptist Church of Lake Forest in Lake Forest, Illinois. And we also have his grandson, that's Talon Fain, 7th grade student at Learn Charter School 6 on Forestall Village. Greetings, folks.
Greetings. Good evening, Doctor.
We're very happy to have both of you on Community Forum. As a matter of fact, last week we had Reverend Azzy is your wife, Azzy Abrams, and her daughter. Did a fantastic job, and so we thought we'll come back and have you as an anchor person to do Family Matters #2. First of all, Reverend Abrams, I'd like for you to tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal and professional background.
Okay. Well, Dr. Brooks, I came to the area back in 1997.
Okay.
Basically seeking a different outlook in my life. At that time, I went ahead and got into the Gateway Foundation for drug and alcohol rehabilitation.
Okay.
God had his hand on me at that point, telling me I needed to get some things together.
Okay.
So when I came here from actually Indiana area via New York, and so I've been around a little bit,
okay.
And so I settled here in North Chicago after completing treatment, and is where I met. Eventually would be my wife. Okay. I met her at Gateway. Okay. And so basically joined Mount Sinai shortly thereafter, accepted my call to the ministry under the tutelage of Pastor Wilcoxon, and got ordained, and been flying for the Lord ever since, truly believing that my mission out here is to be a bridge to help those that were like me. Mm-hmm. You know, I still out there drinking and drugging and living that life, but being a bridge to bring them back home to the Lord and helping them get their lives together. So,
well, it sounds like Saul, I guess, right? Saul was saw the light, and he turned his life around, and when he became Paul, then he was a different person. People didn't recognize him. Instead of persecuting the Jews, he was evangelizing too.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Tell us about your early childhood life. So you is mainly in New York then, right?
Well, a little bit older. I'm originally from the south side of Chicago.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so we moved around quite a bit. My father got some promotions, lived in Cleveland, Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, South Jersey, and then ultimately New York. And then went on to college a little bit there in Vermont, and I ended up coming back to Indiana, where my parents were before moving out here.
Well, tell us about the adjustment that made. We talk about, we're in a military community, and at Great Lakes, we talk with the military, the students, the adjustment that they make in traveling, but yours was because of your father's occupation.
Right.
Tell us about the adjustment that you think that had something to do with you falling off the cliff?
Well, actually, it was a plus. Actually, moving around quite a bit helped me develop interpersonal skills to be able to deal with different types of people.
Okay.
Made friends quick because I never knew when we were going to be moving again.
Okay.
But not having any lifelong friends, that's one thing that lacks. But no, the things that I chose to do in the life that I lived was a choice just on my own. Had nothing to do with, I had the best childhood, strong family roots in Chicago, no matter where we lived, on both sides of my family, very supportive parents, best parents in the world. But my thing was just a lot of things I did just because I wanted to do it. Even me going to treatment, people didn't know that I had a drug problem because they looked on the outside, but I knew what was going on the inside. Right. And I knew there was some more things that I needed to be doing better for my children at that time, you know, for me to do.
We're happy that you invited your grandson with you, and Talon Fain, we'd like to give you an opportunity that I gave your grandfather. Tell us a little bit about Talon.
Well, I am a 7th grader at Learn Charter School.
Okay.
I play for the North Chicago Flames. I'm on middleweight. I like to play football a lot, and I like to play video games. watch TV. Gotta do my homework first, read, and all that other stuff.
How important it is to have a supportive family?
It's nice because like if I get in trouble or something, and like they can tell me like you gotta do better this time or like stuff.
What about the school? You were at you say Green Bay School, and now you have to learn Charter 6. Tell us the difference between the activities at both schools.
Well, when I was at Green Bay, like we can eat Takis and stuff, and like eat Takis and junk and all that. But now when I'm at charter school, we can't do none of that. Like we got like grown up, we can't eat. We only can eat baked stuff.
Okay, very good. What do you plan to? Your ultimate goal when you finish school? What would you like to be?
I would like to be a NFL football player, professional.
Okay.
And if that'll work, I want to be a lawyer. Try to be a lawyer.
Okay. Well, this is fantastic. You have academic goal, and also you have athletic goal too. Yeah, both, yeah. And they both work together because you won't be able to play athletics for the rest of your life. You know, you're gonna have to depend. And we do have several football players that are attorneys. Matter of fact, one was a judge. I played the Minnesota Vikings. I can't call his name down.
Alan Page.
Alan Page, yeah.
That's right. Yes, sir.
The judge that, you know. Okay. Pastor Abrams, importance of family. You know, your wife told it all last week. She said you have 10 children.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Between children. So tell us about the importance of family.
Families, as we know, is what God instituted, really.
Okay.
It's the backbone to every community.
Okay.
And for us in our household, it's everything to me. It means everything to my wife. Okay. Being that we even have that many children, we feel like the whole community, all the kids are our kids. Right. And Talon could definitely tell you that because I'll come up to his school and talk to him a few times, but you know, but I'm talking to his classmates too. So it's family is very important. I believe that a lot of what's going on, or maybe what's going wrong in our society, in our community, is due to the breakup and foundation fabric of the family.
Tell us about your vocation now. You mentioned that you're a senior customer service associate with Aon Hewitt Associates in Lincolnshire, Illinois.
Right.
Tell us about your work there, your mission. And
well, what I do there is pretty much benefits administration. Aon Hewitt's an outsourcing company.
Okay.
So we handle, we have various companies, major Fortune 500 companies that we represent, do their human resource outsourcing as far as their benefits administration for their health care, 401k, pensions, and the like. So I do a lot of, I'm on the phone all day.
Okay.
And I work with a lot of people that's dealing with death of their loved ones and helping them with their benefits. So it's right up the alley with me in the ministry. And definitely helping me develop listening skills, and definitely having that empathetic ear for them.
All those skills that you just mentioned made you a successful 5th Ward Alderman in the city of North Chicago, right? You have to have those skills.
Oh yes. That was all God move. I believe it was a beautiful time that I had for the almost 5 years. That I was there. I lost the last election to Pastor Markham, Torrance Markham, but definitely I learned a lot concerning people, dealing with people.
Okay.
And but I thought it was this extension of the ministry because I'm already part of the community, and I'm still doing the same things, even though I'm not at the meetings. I have to be at the meetings every Monday, but I'm still out. Doing the same things with the community and the schools and the kids and just being a part of everything I'm supposed to be a part of.
It's something about that 5th Ward because my family's a member of the 5th Ward also.
Yes.
That from a minister and now a pastor, so there's something about the religious component, you know, of that ward. So maybe if the other wards had ministers, we'd probably have a much better city too, you know.
Well, we're all ambassadors for Christ, so it doesn't really mean the title. We just have to have the heart to serve the people. That's really what it boils down to.
You mentioned you were associate minister for the Mount Sinai Institution Baptist Church, and you did a lot of things there, people oriented there too. You know
Right.
about your evangelistic work there?
Right. Yes, we sure did. God opened up doors through my wife, Reverend Azzy's contacts with Gateway.
Okay.
We were able to basically get out there and minister there to those there, bring a church service Bible study to them. I was very active with PADS of Lake County, addressing the homelessness, providing advocacy, dignity, and shelter is what that acronym stands for. So we was very active with dealing with that, feeding them the homeless and providing lunches, getting our kids involved to see different things. So yeah, we were instrumental with that and getting that going, helping out with the jail ministry, with the late great brother Milton Walker, Walker, that was really a champion for those that are incarcerated, and we had an outstanding jail ministry there at Mount Sinai as well. So yeah, the outreach, we were definitely over the evangelism ministry there, and so we were doing a lot of things.
You know, what piqued your interest in the ministry?
Well, it really wasn't a peak, it was a call. So, if I had my choice, I don't think that I would have done it. Like any minister that got their call, I believe they'll tell you the same thing. You run for a while. And it's just like even a call on your life, what you've been doing for years, and being a champion for the community and civil rights. You know there's a call on your life for that, and it's not easy sometimes in doing what you're called to do. And but I wouldn't change it for the world, because knowing that obedience is definitely better than sacrifice, as the word tells us, and doing anything for God and to see the enrichment of God's people and how he can use you for God's people is rewarding enough for me.
Now, you have continued that work at the First Baptist Church of Lake Forest.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Pastor Fletcher, the First Baptist Church of Lake Forest is phenomenal, because we think of us as an extension of Mount Sinai, because we both came from under Pastor Wilcoxon.
Right.
We both got ordained together. And but our vision is so outreach oriented. Pastor Fletcher is a phenomenal man of God that's just not inside the walls, but he's out there truly doing what God calls us to do. So we have some big dreams, big goals, because we serve a big God, and there's a lot of work to be done. And we do know that that we're going to put ourselves in that position to do that. So yes, the outreach is still going, even though we're not going, let's say, to Gateway, because Mount Sinai is still doing that as far as I know. But we definitely are doing other things right here in the community for that.
What you're really doing is helping people, and you're changing lives too. This must be very rewarding for you, right?
Amen. Just being a vessel. I tell you, Doc, if I could tell you one thing that I've learned through the years, is that sometimes we think we need to share with people just our triumphs. But one of the main components of ministry is being able to share yourself. And I know my wife said it last week, we're very real people. We're down-to-earth people. And sometimes it's necessary to share your failures with others as well. Because you know you're not failing, because we belong to God. There's no failure in God. So no matter how many times I might slip up or fall down, because I belong to him, I'm going to always triumph, because knowing that all things work together for the good. So I know that no matter what. So sometimes sharing those things with people helps, especially ministers, especially leaders, being humble enough to know that, say, hey, I messed up, and hey, I'm struggling with this. This helps others. It's the same important, because we get our strength from each other. So I've learned that over the last few years here, that even in my struggles, sometimes God wants to use those valley experiences for others to be able to benefit from it as well.
Talon, I think you're very fortunate to have parents, you know, that with the godly, look, their outlook and so forth. Are you active in church too? Or have you?
Yes, I go to church. I go to church with my mom, my grandma, grandpa.
Okay. Have you been influenced by other students of your age that are not active in church? Do they try to influence you to go their way instead of the way that you're going?
What I used to have to me, like I used to follow, like I used to follow them. My mom told me like if that's not gonna get me nowhere, but like messed up, then I learned, then I'm being a leader now.
A leader.
Yes.
Okay. This is fantastic. And I like to, keep challenging you as you're on the right track and stay on the right track, because who knows, one of these days you're going to be doing things maybe your grandfather doing, or you may be a TV host, right? Who knows, Yeah, so I like to congratulate you on what you're doing. Reverend Abrams, you work with a special program at the high school called a DADS program. I think you were a charter member there, right?
Yes, sir.
You want to tell us a little bit about the DADS program?
DADS program, which you were a charter member right along with me, Dr. Brooks. We were that was a phenomenal program that incorporated men to get men active back in the lives of the children. Because when men are playing an active role in the community, good things happen. So that program was, I believe, for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years before it disbanded, but definitely was a phenomenal program. We went in, read to students, went in and made our presence felt at the different games and sporting events. So it was definitely a good experience.
While we're on in church, I'd like to just mention what is the purpose of the church?
The church, as I see it, the church is basically all of us. The church is within. Okay. And it's a body of believers, like-minded, and you're supposed to be making your community a better place. The purpose of the church is to facilitate change, I believe, around you. It's not to make a profit. It's not a business. It's an entity that's supposed to help the community in where it dwells. So I believe that's very key that the church is active in the community. It doesn't necessarily have to be a service in the church. Okay. It's not just about when you have a service for your own church. Sometimes it's about getting out your church and going to a community event like a local football game. Okay. And getting out there and meeting people and talking with people. The same thing that Jesus always did and always does, meets us right where we are. Yes, you lead right to Hebrews. I guess it's what chapter is it mentioned about assemble yourselves together? Do not forsake the assembly one with another. So he's telling you you should meet and assemble together. And the purpose of that is to ensure that if I have some problems or something, you can assist me, or I see you have a need, and then I can assist you. And so that's what assembling together would allude to. Right? Exactly, because you draw strength from that. The whole point of coming to church, I look at the church as a hospital, if you will. You go there, get healed, and then you go back out and help others. What is the purpose of man on earth? Purpose of man? Man, yeah. Why did God make man? Create man. He created us. Now, I know it's not a tricky question, because I know you can say because he wanted to. No, not at all. I mean, I believe our purpose here is to basically, he created us to have dominion over all. Okay. And then dominion does not mean iron-fisted. It just means that we're supposed to take care of. Okay. And he's entrusted us to actually be a steward over everything. And so I take my role as a man seriously. I take my role as my grandson sitting here, that I'm hoping that anything that I say or do would drop deposits into him that hopefully his grandson he'll be able to pass on down, all the way down the line. So our role is very important. I don't think it's just for family, just your own family. I don't think it's enough that we just take care of home. Yeah, we are part of the community. We need to be in that community. It's my job to help out with someone else too, to stand in the gap and help somebody else out as well. It's not just enough for me to do it for my own. Well, purpose of woman. Well, she was created to be a helpmate to the man. Okay. So, but let's keep this real. Men have not assumed their role as they should. Okay. So women have had to take on different roles. And because, again, of us, we have to look in the mirror We can't blame anybody but us.
And that goes back to, I guess, Deborah in the Bible too. The Lord used her because the king didn't do what he's.
Well, I mean, the Lord uses all of us. He used the donkey.
Okay.
He spoke through a donkey. A donkey can speak. So, I mean, he uses who he wants for his will. His will be done. Whether we do it or not, his will is going to be accomplished. It just happens that sometimes if we're obedient, we get the blessings of that obedience and to be part of it. I'm in awe of God utilizing me because I don't deserve anything that he's done in my life. I mean, my wife is a beautiful woman. My wife is the basic backbone to our household. Strong woman, phenomenal woman, which I knew that when I chose her to be my wife.
Okay.
But to understand that and know that the kids are basically as a reflection of us, and it's beautiful to have your kids, which I'm sure you sit back and look at your kids and beam with pride at how they turn out, and looking at your grandkids, and we do the same thing, you know. But the woman's role is to really to try to help us, but things have gotten a little out of sorts ever since you know, Adam, you know, and has progressively gotten to a point that we haven't assumed our roles and doing what we're supposed to do.
And Adam was just disobedient, right?
Right.
And that's what we are.
And we some of us get that same syndrome of Adam of pointing fingers and blaming God ultimately, or it was that woman, or it was this or that, making excuses, but ultimately blaming God. But no, you know, it really comes back to us though, as men.
You have become a community leader, not only in just the community, but the schools, and also in like I say, in politics and every way, to show that you are a leader. But why is it so important to have a male in the home? We have, and I'm leading up to the breaking up of family is one of the where we have problems. But why is it so necessary, the man to lead his family?
It's very important. I give you a case in point. Now, this is our oldest grandchild right here.
Okay.
Phenomenal young man, as you can see.
Okay.
And my daughter, our oldest daughter, is been doing it alone for the most part.
Okay.
When I say alone, she's a single mother raising him and his little brother.
Okay.
Doing a great job, phenomenal job. But in the same token, as I talk to her as my daughter, I can't just always be papa to my grandson, because his father's around, but day to day, sometimes I might not have to be that father figure.
Okay.
Okay, and because you have to understand the male role, you have to understand what a man is supposed to do. I can't teach. I have 6 daughters. Now, no matter how much I love them, I cannot prepare them or teach them how to be women.
Okay.
Because I'm a man.
Okay.
There's certain things that only a woman knows what a woman knows. Just like certain things that Talon and I can talk about, that he can come to me and talk about, that he probably won't talk to moms about, because of us being men and that certain things that we know. So we have this unspoken language that we do with each other that I'll look at him and be like, all right, this Papa, now let me try it, man. Let's do that. So we, you know, that's how we do that. But I think that's the main reason for that, though.
What about our schools? Are our schools decaying? You may not agree with me on that, but because of the males have not stepped forward?
I don't disagree with you at all, Dr. Brooks. I think that for the most part, our women are doing the best they can. But it still comes back to us, because let's talk about the family dynamic again. Okay. We're looking at a lot of single mothers. You're looking at women giving birth at a very early age. Okay. So there's 3, and then they have the lack of God, and a lack of structured spiritual foundation in generations. So you have 4, really you're looking at 3 or 4 generations of people removed that don't even know God. That's what you're really looking at. And it's sad, but it's the reality. You have 14-year-olds having babies. Okay. Then they're 28, then they're 14-year-olds having babies. Now you have a 42-year-old grandmother with a 14-year-old granddaughter, and all of them are getting high together, drinking together, partying together. So now, here's the thing, though. While we're pointing the finger at the ladies, where are the men? Now, some of these men, there's grown men. This is what really gets me under my skin. There's grown men that are laying up with 14-year-old girls. Grown men.
Wow.
Now, I'm keeping this honest and keeping this real, because now, where are the men at? Where are the fathers at? Where are they that are creating these lives? And then on top of that, you want to talk about the dynamic of things, and you know this number, what's going on with abortion, and how high is that abortion number in our community compared to other ethnic communities? And so it's a slippery slope, but it's got to be talked about, it's got to be addressed. But the first thing that we have to do, me and Pastor talk about all the time, if you want to change your environment, you have to change the atmosphere.
Okay.
Okay, and so in order to shift that whole paradigm, we have to change that environment, and the atmosphere has to change, and it's going to take some time, but it can happen. It can happen. I have hope, the fact to know that as long as I have breath in my body, I can keep speaking and talking against. There's certain things happening in our schools. You wanted to ask me what's going on in our schools? Apathy is happening in our community. That's affecting our schools.
Why is there so much apathy?
Because, again, nobody cares unless something happens to them. As long as I'm taking care, if I'm just taking care of mine, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. That's not enough.
Okay.
You know, even people call me all the time. Just because I'm no longer an alderman doesn't mean my phone doesn't ring. And they call me all the time with their issues.
Because you're a caring person.
Yeah, and I'm going to be out there and I'm a champion for them. You know, my son, I believe in a charter school. I believe in Learn Charter. I believe in choices. Not any one of us can say that if we had a chance, if we had to have surgery, and we had to have surgery, and then we had the best surgeon we can get to commit surgery on us, or we can go to the clinic and get somebody that just came out of medical school, and if we can get that top-notch surgeon, you can't tell me you would not go to that top-notch surgeon.
But as far as the schools are concerned, if you got a problem there, you go to the source there to cure the problem, right?
Well, yes, you do, but let me finish my example, my analogy to you. So you have the charter school, and you have the regular District 187 schools that are failing.
Okay, both are public schools.
Both are public schools, they're failing.
Okay.
Now, my son graduated from charter school at 8th grade.
Okay.
He can go to the high school, like my other 9 children, which one of them graduated valedictorian. They're going to get there. He's going to get his education. He's going to be ready for college.
Okay.
Or he can go to Carmel, where he is.
Okay.
Okay, which is definitely a sacrifice on our part to make sure we make this happen.
Right.
That's the specialist. Carmel's a specialist, proven track record. Go there 4 years, he's going to be ready for college.
Okay.
Or he can keep going, and I can keep fighting against the program there at North Chicago High School. Which do you do?
You got to do both.
Well, no, I'm going to keep fighting, yes. But if I'm going to choose something if my son needs surgery, I'm going with that specialist.
That's right.
And see, and that's what the problem is, that you have to have choices, and I think we need to bring in that same type of education, even on the high school level. And people worried about taxes, people worried about how it's pulling from the taxes, pulling from this and that. I'm going to ask you one question. When do we weigh out money against what we're creating with our kids? Because they're just making it through high school. You have guidance counselors that are just giving them courses just to graduate them.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, the problem is going on. Yeah, we can fight the problem, but the only way you fight the problem, Dr. Brooks, you read about what went on in Simeon, where they were going to get rid of all the electrician programs, apprenticeship programs.
Right.
They actually did. They got rid of it. But then a whole lot of Simeon alma maters, people from Simeon, graduates, community members, articles in the newspaper, Black Crusader, Jason Palmer, a lot of them got together and they forced their hand with community involvement for them to change their course on that, and they put that program back in place. Same thing can happen here in North Chicago. But we need people to stand up. We need people to stand up. We need people not to sit back and just say, hey, complaining about it.
Okay.
We need to get out there and do something about it, because it can change. We can change the climate.
Well, in connection with that is apathy and so forth is voting. People, why is there so much apathy about voting? Well, as we know, we're in North Chicago, but it's all over.
It's all over, right?
It's all over the county, really. And we talk with the county county clerk about it, you know, and she can't understand why there's so much apathy.
I think a lot of it is that people are.
But these are complainers, though. Things are not being done.
Well, that's true. That's true. There's some of it. I think a lot of people have turned off to quote unquote politicians and our leaders.
Okay.
Because we see a lot of leaders that are just self-serving. We see a lot of people.
Okay.
I mean, let's face it, Dr. Brooks. You know it. How much noise was being made? Watch how much noise starts being made now as we get close to our mayoral election for North Chicago.
Okay.
But where have people been all this other time?
Well,
You know,
when we have the police killing
Yes.
the citizens there, people got
Yes.
excited.
Yeah,
and so
very,
forth.
very much so. That probably was I learned more about myself. As you know, I was on the council when Gloria Hanna lost Darren Hanna.
Okay.
And I sat on the council.
Okay.
A lot of things I could not talk about at that time, or couldn't say what I really felt concerning that, and it tears me up. And matter of fact, being the fact that the Hanna family, or Darren Hanna, is actually the uncle of his little brother, of my grandson.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it hit close to home. Not beginning to even understand the level of grief that Miss Carr is feeling. Okay, understanding that even Ralph Peterson and I, as he, quote unquote, people want to say, oh, attacked me and did this and did that, verbally, whatever. I never took it personal, because that's a man that was hurting for his cousin and seeking justice.
Yeah.
That I believe is still going to seek justice for that and continue to do.
Yeah.
Do I think that that Darren Hannon was murdered by our police? Yes, I do. I said it behind closed doors. I said it when I read all those reports. But we have laws that are set up. The same thing can happen in Ferguson.
Okay.
Laws are set up to pretty much protect police. And but do I think that there's some things that happen? But in the same light, though, in that, and through every tragedy, there's some beautiful things that come out of it. And tragic as it was for Darren Hanna, that happened to him, we did. A lot of things came to light that needed to come to light about our police department, about some things that needed to come to light in order for us to improve some things that need to be improved. So things or will change on that front, but it's sad that a life had to be taken.
Yeah, we're on apathy, and we can go to Ferguson, Missouri. They have statistics that 90% of the people don't vote.
Yeah.
90%. And of course, now they complainers, you know, about what happened down there. But if they voted, then these things probably wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, we have to understand.
Yeah, more representation, you know.
Well, no, you're nailing the head. I think that the things that you've done for years, it's our turn now. You have done enough in your time that there should be some of us in our generation that are stepping up to the plate to be able to take this mantle and keep it rolling. Because right now, apathy and people are all off into their own world. We're chasing, I call it disinformation. The media is great at disinformation. And so they put out what they want you to know, but then there's little things that go on behind the scenes, like back with the war, the Gulf War. Everybody was talking about Iraq, but the real war was going on in Afghanistan.
Okay, right.
You know, so I mean, it's you know, hey, I'll throw the ball over here, you look over here, sleight of hand. So we need to do better for ourselves and educate and understand that we can make a difference voting, putting the right people and holding our leaders accountable. We can do that.
Can we make an analogy with churches too? You have people that not active in churches because the churches have not.
People,
I should say churches, but pastors, I would say, not stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, yes, I'm not going to shy away from that. There are leaders that I'm just a firm believer. If you have a church in a certain community, your face needs to be visible in that community.
Okay.
Not just on Sunday, not just on Wednesday, not just when there's a program, not just when there's a photo op. You need to be visible when there's nobody around.
Okay.
You need to pop into a barbershop and just sit around and talk. You need to pop into a beauty salon and just sit around and talk. You need to just go walk around and see what's going on.
Okay.
You know, that's how I see some things. But then too, people are hurt by the church. When you're hurting, you shy away from certain things. You know, and so I think that's why it's imperative that we do things differently. I tell you, one pastor that I love, young pastors out here that's doing some good things, is Pastor Joshua Randolph with Salvation Praise Ministries.
Yeah, he's been on my radio program.
Yes.
I'm going to have to get him on my TV
Yes,
program.
Pastor Eugene, I can't believe I forgot that. Eugene, not Pastor Rosen, but Eugene that came out of Edwards, Pastor Edwards. I always call him just Pastor Eugene.
This is the one come out of Shiloh?
Shiloh, yes. And
Oh,
he has a church, a place called Home Baptist Church, and he's radical to the point of getting after those that have been lost.
Okay.
And that hip hop, if you will, segment of society, and get them on fire for Christ, and using different bait. You know, if hip hop rap works, and you're getting that word out, that's the whole thing. We're just changing. We're fishers of men. Okay. So if we're using the same bait, you can't. You know this, Dr. Bruce. We can't just play the organ anymore and people not coming in.
Okay.
You know, we got to go out there and meet people where they are, and just as Pastor Josh says, church outside the box.
The analogy that you gave about fishermen of men, we can go out and bring men in, but when you get the fish, you got to clean them up.
Yes, that's God's job. That's God's job.
You can fish or bring him into the church.
We bring him.
But if you don't train him, the Bible study and Sunday school beat you and so forth.
Right. That's
what I mean by clean him up.
Yes, that's part of it. Yes, sir.
Then he may just go back out in the water.
Yes, as we have done. You know, so I mean, I know when I say we, I'm just saying in general. You know, I've been in the church all my life, but I drifted away. You know, so.
Okay. And that's the reason I mentioned about Talon, about peer groups. You know, if you allow a peer group to have you come into, if you're not in church, then it's either church or the peer group. You have to make a choice of which way you want to go. Right?
Right.
And you have chose to stay in school, and you got a goal for yourself, and you want to work towards that goal. And I think you've, when we get ready to leave the scene, and we have to have someone to pass the torch to, and by getting this training that you get now, being educated and so forth, then you will be able to receive the torch and go head on, you know, because you're going to have to pass the torch on to somebody else, you know, one of these days too. Right? Okay, I was thinking of, just for comment, I guess, we have about 3,000 denominations in the world. I always use that analogy. And why do we have so many denominations?
Well, you mean different denominations of a religion?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
It's been like that since the beginning of time, Dr. Brooks, since the beginning of man. I mean, everybody has a different ideology, and you tend to differ, and when you differ, you split and get your own. That's why you have a First Baptist and a Second Baptist and a Third Baptist, and you know, everybody has their own, you know, ideas of that. Sure. You know, the vision that I see, and the vision I would love to see is some churches coming together unconventionally, not trying to build up a building for themselves, but let's say partner with each other and have one community center, if you would. When I say community center, I'm talking about just one community building that they all share and basically operate out of. But at least they have something there they could be something like the House of Hope out on the south side with Pastor Meeks, where they can take the inside and make it a gymnasium, you know, make it whatever it needs to be for the community. But everybody's working towards that goal and not looking to build up their own buildings, or, you know, I mean, that's the vision I have of the old, and really what the old church used to be. I mean, when I say the old church, I'm talking about back in biblical days.
Okay.
You know.
You were an alderman, you say, for about 5 years. What are the responsibilities of an alderman? And I'm looking at accountability as being close to the top of the list, right? Many responsibilities that you have, you know, coming up.
Well, you're the voice of the people of your ward, number one.
Okay.
I think some people have a little twisted. This is my opinion.
Yeah.
As an alderman, I believe that I'm the voice for my constituents, but sometimes I have to let my constituents know this may not be the best move. Now, one person on one block might want this,
Okay.
but 12 other people on the same block may not want it.
Okay.
So I'm not going to appease, that one person that wants what they want. So sometimes you have to make decisions, much like as a father of a home, and a husband, and you have to make decisions for the whole that may not be popular at times. And you're going to stand alone. I believe that, yes, accountability is key. I believe that the way you walk and represent yourself is key. I don't believe in publicly bashing my fellow aldermen.
Okay.
I believe that if we're going to do any bashing or have to hash anything out, it should be done behind closed doors. But publicly, we should be united in trying to walk forward. You can be. It's okay to agree to disagree.
Okay.
That's why you have 7 aldermen and you have votes. So 4-3. Once that vote's over, let's move on to the next one. No need to hold grudges. Let's just keep moving on to make things better.
And I was thinking, to make this a much better community society, you have to let your light shine, right?
At all times. Yes, at all times. And that's a challenge when you're getting attacked. It's a challenge when you because we're all human, but we still should be, yes, letting the light of the Lord shine, not our light, but His light shine through us.
Right. We speak about being Christians, and I guess Christians, you can boil it down to being Christ-like, right? Would be one to narrow it down. What about same-sex marriages? You have a comment on those? Well,
I'm an ordained minister, and I'm personally, anybody that I marry, I'm following biblical standards. That I will have to have counseling, premarital counseling before I marry. I definitely wanted to marry my son and his wife, but because they had got their license so quickly and we didn't have time to do the counseling, I didn't do I didn't do the marriage.
Okay.
So I believe in that. So my Bible tells me one man, one woman. So I would not be performing any same-sex marriages. Now, what I don't do is I don't judge anyone. I stay with the Word. And I know this, that in the eyes of God, their sin is no different than my sin as a married man if I'm looking too long at a woman and lusting after her in my mind.
It's a sin, yeah.
It's the same thing with God. It's sin. Or if I have 2 or 3 women on the side and somebody, just because they're homosexual, that makes them worse than me, no, not at all. In God's eyes, sin is sin. And there's only one unpardonable sin, and that's blasphemy towards the Holy Spirit, attributing works of the enemy or the devil to the Holy Spirit. So I can't judge anybody, but I do know that what I stand on and what I do, I won't marry, anybody of same sex.
We are our brother's keeper. How do you define it?
That we're responsible.
I know it's scripture too.
Oh yeah, well yeah, but the scripture that comes to my mind is that the strong should bear the infirmity of the weak.
Okay.
And so me being my brother's keeper is that and I'm talking about on the spiritually side of things, if I'm a little bit more spiritually mature, just because you attack me verbally and I'm a little bit more mature than you spiritually, I shouldn't just act back in kind. Because you slapped me, I don't have to slap you back. So it's my job to go ahead and iron sharpens iron.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with us coming and having discussions and me learning from another and one learning from me. I can tell you that Brother Ralph Peterson and I, some people think that we're at odds.
Okay.
Not at all. He's a very, very deep, introspective brother that I learned a great deal from, and vice versa. That even in our differences, even when I was sitting up in that council, nobody in that council laid a hand on Darren Hanna. But yet and still, because we're the leaders, we have to take that hit.
Okay.
You just have to take the hit. It doesn't matter. We can point fingers all day at the school administration. I don't blame Dr. Martindale or anybody else at District 187 building for what's going on with our schools. I can look in the mirror and blame me. And everybody else that lives here in this city needs to look in the mirror and blame themselves too, because we're allowing people to come in and do what they do.
Yeah, you mentioned about Darren Hannah. Is all his mother is saying is that justice will prevail.
Yes.
So you don't have to take a hit, but you can make sure justice prevails. Now, it took the state's attorney to request the Department of Justice to come in to investigate.
Right.
Now, this is 3 years after the death.
Yes.
3 years.
Yes.
And it would finally come in. So what is this, political or what?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily political. I think that it's ran its course in the state of Illinois. When I say it's run its course, because I remember I had access to the records and everything that they read and reviewed.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, what I read and reviewed is different, and what I got from it is different than what law enforcement or lawyers. I learned that there's a different meaning for homicide and murder based upon how they've mentioned different things in that report. To me, homicide is murder.
Okay.
To me. But in law enforcement circles, that just the manner of death is homicide. I mean, you're splitting hairs here with me. Okay, that's to me now. You know, so that's the way I see it. Why it took so long, why it's turned on, I think it should be turned on the Department of Justice. I think that they should come in, a different mindset should look at this with different eyes, because from what I see and what I saw, things didn't add up.
Well, in Missouri, I guess, it didn't take long for not only the Attorney General to come in and take a look at it.
Yeah, he came in to keep calm and keep peace, but people need to understand that even he doesn't have the power.
He's waiting to see what he's going to do.
Yeah, to overturn some things that if the laws are set like we saw in Florida, if certain laws are set the way they are, it can protect people that don't need to be protected. You know, so.
Speaking of, we on this guns, alluding to the guns now, it's reported that guns are getting to the hands of kids young and younger now. Teenagers and maybe even less than teenagers you find killing people.
Right. What? I mean, and there's a lot more girls having weapons too.
Okay.
Than you would think that's out here doing some things, and but it's just having access to them. You know, does it mean that you have to get rid of guns? And because a lot of little kids that are finding guns, they find them at home. You know, so that means somebody older is stashing that gun there somewhere, and they're seeing it. So, you know, do I believe that everybody has a right to bear arms? Yeah, I do, legally. Most of the people that have a gun legally and registered, those aren't the guns that they're not out here shooting people and killing people. It's the illegal ones that are out here, and that's bringing the guns here. So, you know, you have your gun shop, people that go to gun shows, they can buy as many guns they want, and they come on back to the hood and they sell them. So, I mean, that's what's happening.
We have in the schools, you know, I know when my youngsters was going, they had woodworking and vocational training.
Yes.
They had homemaking and
exactly.
all this type of thing. And they had music, and it's my understanding that music has been considered cutting out of the program.
Yes.
But these are items here to make, you know, the students prepare themselves for life. If they can't have music, they have woodworking, and it's been proven in homemaking.
Right.
Then what?
That's what I was speaking about with Simeon, and that's been going on around the country. We're always going to need skilled trades.
Okay.
Everybody's not made for college.
Okay.
Everybody doesn't want to go to college.
Exactly.
What if you have? What if I was one that liked to work on cars, and my grandson is growing up watching me work on cars? He may want to work on cars too.
Okay.
So you have people that are out here want to be electricians or want to be there. If you're cutting all these things out, and who is it affecting most? It's affecting most those of us that are technologically behind, and that's really the inner city kids. you know, and the minority kids. So, I mean, if they're going around cutting those things, yeah, it's taking away a lot.
It doesn't have to be vocation.
Right.
I mean, you're going into a vocation like a automobile mechanic and so forth. There are a lot of things in my home right now that I am calling the maintenance person to come in that I should be able to do. You'd be surprised at the little things. And I get him there, and he works all day on this little thing here, this little here, changing the door, locks on the door. I should be able to know how to do that.
Right, right, exactly. You're right.
A lot of the things, you know. So that's the type of thing that's going to benefit the student, you know, when he.
That's exactly it. But I guess
we don't make decisions. Who makes the decision? You know?
That's true. The administration and they're talking about the different cuts they have, but meanwhile, the administration's still top heavy, you know, in everything that they have. So,
okay. Well, before we end the program, we have to mention about love and hatred. Hatred is not. Let's see. It has to be taught, right? To hate. You see, I don't know, but I think love is probably inherent. You probably, you know, you grow up loving people. You don't grow up hating people, you know. But is teaching of hate, and that causes many problems in the community among citizens.
Right. Well, I mean. You're right. When we're born as kids, you see kids play together. They inherently love one another. But as we do know that unforgiveness, if you're carrying around some things that happened to you and you haven't forgave that person, as the Bible tells us, don't let the sun go down on your wrath.
Okay.
Well, you go ahead and let the sun go down a few times on your wrath and you're mad and you're angry, that takes root in you. And now from that root comes all those things that in Galatians talks about, the opposite of the fruit of the Spirit. You know, those things that grow envy and, you know, all those things, anger, and that turns into bitterness. And
you have a tendency to use a gun, and, you know, if it's available, you know.
You don't think about the consequences. And remember now, we're talking about generations that are not even spiritually grounded. I had that line I never crossed because of train up a child from where he should go. And then when he's old, he won't depart. So certain things I wouldn't do. But this generation now, there's certain things that Talon's not going to do because it's been instilled in him. These are lines you just should not cross. So he's just not going to do it because he's been taught that. But what about the ones that have not been taught?
You know, we have the money situation, and we say money is okay. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil, right?
That is correct.
The love, and I emphasize it by mentioning that I never seen a Brinks truck behind a hearse yet.
That's right.
You know, the hearse is not going to if a hearse follow you to the grave, you're gonna leave it there.
That's right.
So trying to accumulate all the wealth in the world, the Kennedys, for example, you know, you're trying to accumulate all the wealth in the world. What are you gonna do with it? You know.
Exactly.
But. I don't know. We have I guess we own part 2 now, but I guess we may need a part 3. You know, the way things were going. I really enjoyed this, and ladies and gentlemen, again, we've been talking with Reverend Torrance Abrams, the associate minister of First Baptist Church of Lake Forest, Illinois, and his grandson, Tylon Fain, 7th grade student at Learning Charter 6 at Forest Village, an outstanding young man, and he stated that he's willing to receive the torch that and his grandfather passed on to him. He's preparing himself, you know, for that great day. So I would say this, that we hope that you've enjoyed the program, and this is just not a wrap. We've been trying to leave something on your mind to make this a better community. And I'd just like to leave this with you. I'm just a nobody telling everybody about somebody trying to save anybody. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Community Forum. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.